Thanks for joining us for the Nick Hart Show, presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Pole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, Robert Goob Vermillion, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Tembarge Seed, TYFL, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Vertical Tile Incorporated, Wash Boss, Young's Auto Body, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, by Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solomon Photography, Like Transport, Make Your Mark, Scherer Monuments, Southern Indiana Tire, United Fidelity Bank, Stan and Teresa Dove, by Air Evac Life Team, Ameriprise Financial, Jeremy Overton, by Engermeyer Electric, Bandit Ag LLC, Bryant Auto Center Incorporated, by Center for Pediatric Therapy, by Country Barns, by Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Full Metal Armory, by grandparent of Isaac O'Neill, Marianne O'Neill, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Jarbo Tax Service, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm, by Cook Air, L&B Boutique, Little Miracles, Matt Walker Insurance, by Meisler Trailer Rentals, National Vet Help, Ripco Systems, by Titan Construction Partners, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department. And welcome into the Nick Hart Show here tonight. Kyle Peach alongside the Titans head coach Nick Hart. The Gibson Southern team coming off another big win on Friday night, knocking off Southridge 24-14. And coach, a little bit of adversity for the team to deal with, having to make a change at quarterback heading into that Southridge game. But boy, did your kids respond in a big way.
Yeah, they did, and Liam stepped up and played really well for us. It's a tough spot to be in, I think, to make your first start in the middle of the season. And Southridge had not given up a point coming into the game, so you're facing a really good defense. And I thought he did a great job for us on Friday.
Liam goes 13 of 18 through the air, 121 yards, a touchdown, no picks. It sounds like a pretty good stat line. Sounds like a starter stat line, even though he didn't start the season at the starter. Nice to be able to have someone like Liam who can come in off the bench, contribute in that kind of way, and really you didn't feel like you lost that much at the quarterback spot, if anything, going into and throughout the game on Friday night.
Yeah, it's a great luxury to have. I think a lot of people would take that kid as their starter. To be able to have him in that role is, a great benefit for us. And like I said, I thought he played really well on Friday.
For the Titans, 121 yards passing, 267 yards rushing. The way this game started, the Titans got on the board first, 7:28 to go in the first quarter. Sean DeLong would run it in from 4 yards out, and the Cam Novotny kick would make it 7-0. Then, right before the end of the quarter, it would be Southridge getting on the board with just under 2 minutes left in the first. Hudson Allen would pass to Miles Kirchhoff for 22 yards. Their point after made it 7-7, and that would be the score all the way through to the third quarter. Tied at halftime, Coach. Thoughts at the break for you and your club?
Well, and I'm sure Southridge felt this way as well, because I felt like, both teams had some opportunities to kind of stretch it out. We had we had great field position there in that second quarter a couple of times and just weren't able to cash in. One, we got backed up with some penalties, and then on the next one, we just didn't execute really well. I thought our offensive line really struggled in the first half, and a lot of that has to do with Southridge and what they were doing and the players that they have. We knew that they were a great defense going in, but we missed a lot assignment-wise there in the first half, and I thought those guys responded really well in the second half, and maybe didn't play great in the second half, but played a lot better and gave our backs and quarterback a chance to make a few more plays.
Moving into that second half, Hudson Allen would start the scoring in the third quarter with a little over 9 minutes left in the third period on a 31-yard touchdown pass to Carter Harris. That put Southridge in front for the first time, 14-7, but less than 3 minutes remaining, 3 minutes later, I should say, with 6:18 left on the third quarter clock, Devin Roberts gets on the scoreboard. A 4-yard touchdown run for Devin. The point after would be good, would be all tied at 14. And then the Titans would not allow Southridge another score the rest of the night. In fact, Coach, you look up and down the stat line, one of the things that looms large to me is your team was able to force 4 Southridge turnovers on the night, including 3 interceptions.
Yeah. The one was kind of at the end of the game, when we were up 10 and they're in a little bit of desperation mode, and one was on a long third down. So, it kind of turned into a punt for them. So I think that's a little bit misleading, but 2 of the turnovers were big. Sean DeLong had a pick on their first drive, ran it back and set us up at the short field for our first touchdown. And then, we caused a fumble in the fourth quarter that kind of set us up to score. So those 2, were really, really big. The other 2 probably look a little bit more important on the stat sheet than what they were in a game. But those 2 that we got, were huge turnovers.
Tied at 7 after one quarter, still tied at 7 at halftime, then tied 14 all in the third quarter. It became a winner-take-all fourth quarter, and the Titans would do all of the scoring in the period. A mindset difference for your squad when it got to crunch time? What was the difference there in the fourth quarter? Getting the touchdown, probably a little bit of luck to go along with that, but a touchdown and then a field goal from Cam Novotny to kind of put it out of reach.
We made some great plays. They had a chance to score early in the fourth quarter, got down close to the red zone, and Bo Rose made a great deflection on a pass on fourth down to give us the ball. Then our defense is able to cause a turnover and get us a short field. So it was, kind of a combination of all 3 phases, really. Defense gets some big stops. Offense was able to convert. And then, obviously special teams with the field goal there with a couple minutes left to make it a 2-score game.
The Titans, again, continue to remain unbeaten. A big win against Southridge. The final scoring, Liam Bryan completed that touchdown pass to Cole McKee for 13 yards in the score. And then with 2:34 left in the fourth, what is it like to be able to trot a kid out like Cam Novotny to attempt a 36-yard field goal and put it right through the uprights? That's a secret weapon that not a lot of teams have the luxury of having.
Yeah, it really is. And it's funny how football works. I think with Cam, right now, like anything inside of 35, we feel really confident with. And, he can go up to 40, 42. But 35 is kind of that cut where you feel really comfortable. We're like sitting right at a 36-yarder. We go on a hard count, get him to jump off sides to get up to make it a 31-yard attempt on third down. And so I'm thinking, even if we get stuffed, we're well within his comfort range. We have a miscue on the handoff on the mesh, and we gave back all 5 yards, that we got on the offsides penalty to stretch it back out to a 36-yarder. But man, he hit a great kick. He had plenty on it. It was good. And I think in high school football, not only are you concerned about your kicker from that range, but you got to have a good snap, a good hold. You got to protect. It's going to be a little bit of a lower kick because of the distance, and all the guys in the operation were really smooth there.
It takes the team to do it all, and the Titans showed that on all facets of the game on Friday night, knocking off a good Southridge squad. 24-14 was the final score. As we continue here tonight on the Nick Hart Show, coming up next, we'll take a look at all things Pocket Athletic Conference. We'll also get you set for another big matchup. When is there not a big matchup on this Titan schedule? It's with Heritage Hills on Friday night. We'll get you set for that one as the show continues. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Nick Hart Show, presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, DuBois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Pole Concrete Construction, and Pro Rehab. Support provided by Wabash General Hospital, now offering MyChart, allowing patients secure digital access to their health information, including allowing you to message your provider with clinical questions, scheduling and changing appointments, electronically checking in for appointments, and viewing billing balances anytime, anywhere. Sign up for MyChart is available at WGHMyChart.com. MyChart at Wabash General Hospital, another example of people you know helping people you love.
Back here on the Nick Hart Show, looking at the Pocket Athletic Conference this past Friday night. Of course, we've told you the Titans with a big 10-point win over Southridge. In other games involving the Pocket schools, it was in the little school division, Tell City losing to Hancock County, Kentucky 16-13. Boonville gets a non-conference loss. They fall to Lenton in a shootout, a 90-point game there, 50 for Lenton, 40 for Boonville. In that one, Mount Vernon gets a win over Forest Park, 42-7. South Spencer beats Princeton, 47-7, and Washington blanks Pike Central, 41-0. So you look at those scores, and then you see probably the game of the night involving teams from both the big and small division of the PAC. North Posey in double overtime knocks off Heritage Hills 33-26. Coach, what have you heard about that game? That was a thriller.
It was. Obviously we've been breaking that down, getting ready for this week. It was a great game. You kind of felt like Heritage Hills was in control for most of the game. North Posey did a great job of continuing to play. Found a way to tie it and take it to overtime, and then exciting finish there in double overtime. Heritage Hills got right to the goal line on 4th and goal, wasn't able to get in. So it was a great football game.
Double overtime winner for North Posey over at Heritage Hills, 33-26. So you look at both the big and small school divisions of the Pocket. Only Gibson Southern is unbeaten, 5-0 on the season. In the big school division, Boonville still has not lost a big school conference game like Gibson Southern, both 1-0 in the league. Boonville's 3-2 overall. Mount Vernon and Heritage Hills are now 1-1 in league play. Mount Vernon 4-1 overall. Heritage Hills is 3-2. Washington and Princeton winless in the division, but Washington does get that win over Pike Central to move to 1-4 on the year. Princeton is 0-5. That's our quick look through the Pocket Athletic Conference. When we come back, we'll get you set for the big matchup on Friday night between the Gibson Southern Titans and the Patriots of Heritage Hills. Stay with us. The Nick Hart Show is presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, made possible by Robert's Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, Robert Goob Vermillion, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Timbarge Seed, TYFL, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Vertical Tile Incorporated, Wash Boss, Young's Auto Body, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, by Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solomon Photography, Like Transport, Make Your Mark, Scherer Monuments, Southern Indiana Tire, United Fidelity Bank, Stan and Teresa Dove, by Air Evac Life Team, and by Ameriprise Financial, Jeremy Overton. Welcome back to the Nick Hart Show. Be back with a coach in just a moment. Wanted to check in just a bit, though, on a couple of other notes in the Class 3A football polls that are out now through this week. In the Associated Press Class 3A poll, the Gibson Southern Titans are second this week in the statewide poll. West Lafayette remains number one. The Titans check in at number two, both West Lafayette and the Titans 5-0. Indianapolis Chittard is third in the poll at 3-2 on the year. Norwell is fourth. Tri-West is fifth. You look down the line, Southridge is now ninth in the poll, coming off their loss last week at 4-1. Other teams of note from the area, Vincennes Lincoln is 11th at 3-2 on the year. Heritage Hills is 12th in the AP poll, coming off a loss in double overtime to North Posey, setting their mark at 3-2 on the year. Looking at the IFCA coaches poll, the Titans third in the poll this week. West Lafayette remains number one. Basically, the difference in the two polls is Indianapolis Chittard, despite their 3-2 record, sits in at the 2 spot in the coaches poll. Gibson Southern third at 5-0. Tri-West fourth, Norwell fifth. And as you slide down the list here in that poll, Southridge is 11th in the poll, coming off their loss to Gibson Southern. Vincennes Lincoln is 14th, and nowhere to be mentioned on the poll from the coaches poll is Heritage Hills, despite coming off of their loss in a double overtime to North Posey last week. So it sets up an interesting matchup as you go to the AP poll this week. Gibson Southern, the number 2 ranked team in the state, taking on Heritage Hills, the 12th ranked team in the AP poll, on the road. Another big test ahead for the Titans. And speaking of potentials for postseason play, let's dial up to Section 30 for just a little bit. Section 30 this year consisting of Gibson Southern, Mount Vernon, Washington, Vincennes Lincoln, Owen Valley, West Vigo, Princeton, and Pike Central. That's the sectional. Those are the sectional matchups. The sectional teams in Section 30 this year. The Titans and Owen Valley remain the only unbeaten teams in Sectional 30. Owen Valley has played the likes of Brown County, a 77-7 win over the 2A team. They've beaten South Putnam, a 1A team, 57-34. They snuck out a 3A overtime win over Indian Creek, 41-39. They won at 4A Edgewood, 57-7, and they won against the 4A Northview, 28-7 last week. Their remaining schedule has them against Sullivan, Eastern Green, Greencastle, and Cloverdale. So it'll be interesting to follow Owen Valley over these next few weeks to see if they will keep pace with the Titans on their unblemished record. There are only a handful of matchups of Sectional 30 opponents so far going head-to-head. It was Gibson Southern beating Washington 57-20. Mount Vernon beat Princeton 42-7, and Washington beating Pike Central 41-0. So there will be a few more of those matchups before the season is done, but it'll be interesting to follow those Section 30 opponents. All right, enough of that. I know you're ready to find out more about the breakdown of the big matchup between the rivals, Gibson Southern and Heritage Hills. Coach Nick Hart is back to talk about that in just a moment on The Nick Hart Show. The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Angermeyer Electric, Bandit Ag LLC, Bryant Auto Center Incorporated, by Center for Pediatric Therapy, by Country Barns, by Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey. By Fort Branch Car Wash. Full Metal Armory. By grandparent of Isaac O'Neill, Marianne O'Neill. By Heritage Federal Credit Union. Heritage Petroleum LLC. Jarbo Tax Service. Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm. By Cook Air. L&B Boutique. Little Miracles. Matt Walker Insurance. By Meisler Trailer Rentals. National Vet Help. Ripco Systems. By Titan Construction Partners. Whitledge Tree Service LLC. And by Wabash Valley College. Back here with Titan head coach Nick Hart as the Nick Hart Show continues, getting you set for the Titans road matchup, a big one on the road Friday night as the Titans will travel to Heritage Hills to take on the Patriots. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff time. Our pregame show on 99.1 The Bash will begin around 6:45. Obviously, this is one of those matchups year after year everybody looks at on the schedule is when these two get together. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather be facing Heritage Hills coming off a win by the Patriots than a double overtime loss. This is going to be a team that's going to be hungry at home.
Yeah, it's always a big game when we get together. We've played each other, believe it or not, 8 times the last 4 years because we've played, 4 straight years in the playoffs. So, it seems like, every other week we're playing each other, but it's always a big game. We have a ton of respect for them and their program and everything that they do. And Coach Wilkerson and his coaches do a great job of preparing their kids. Would have really liked to see them win last week. I think it's one of those things where we got to go out and take care of us. They were going to be fired up to play us regardless of coming off of a win or a loss. A win for them keeps them alive in the conference race. It's a huge game for a lot of reasons. And, I think when you look at them, if you look at their record, it's probably a mistake because they're 3-2. They're literally 2 plays away from being 5-0. You have a completely different outlook looking at this game on paper. If they're 5-0 and 2 plays can, really go either way. We're probably 2 plays away from being, 3-2 instead of 5-0. So, it's a really good football team. They always are. And I think one of the interesting things about this game always to me is just the contrasting styles. And they've obviously had a lot of success and so have we, but they're going to try and shorten the game and run the ball and play guys both ways. And, we're going to spread it around and go fast and try and 2 platoon as much as we can. It's kind of, I think that's one of the great things about football. You can do things so many different ways and still have success. So, it's always a contrasting style when we get together and, it's going to take a great effort to go in there and get a win on Friday.
I know one of the big questions that's been around the program here these last 2 weeks, obviously, especially coming off the game here against Southridge in which Liam Bryant was under center and taking all the snaps at quarterback for you, did a great job. The question is the status of Tanner Boyd, and what can you tell us about that heading into the matchup with the Patriots?
Yeah, Tanner's thing's not going to be long-term. Now this week, I don't know. As you and I are talking today, it's probably too early to make that determination if he can go on Friday or not. But it's sooner rather than later that he's back. I just don't know if sooner is this Friday or next Friday or when that is. I just think it's the time of the year that where this game's super important. The playoffs are always going to be the most important thing to us. And so if you're dinged up and not close to 100% and we have a chance to get you there, we're always going to take that opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's a quarterback or a kicker or a guard. That's just kind of the way we've always operated it. So it'll depend on how much he improves this week and how close to 100% he can get heading into Friday.
Well, Coach, I think the good news is we know what Tanner can do. We've seen it, but now we've also seen what Liam can do if
He is called upon again to start at the quarterback spot, coming off of that big outing. So a level of comfort there, I'm sure, for you and the team.
Yeah, and we don't have to change the offense. Tanner probably runs it a little bit better, but Liam's still very capable, so we don't really have to change who we are, depending on who it is. So I think that's the nice thing is you're kind of unsure at this point of the week who it's going to be. We got the game plan in and we're ready to roll, and we'll get them reps this week and get them ready to go. And obviously Liam showed he's very capable and can get back there and get the job done for us. So as a coach, even that kind of helps you, like, hey, we can go another week if we need to go another week. So we'll see what this week brings, but we have full confidence in both those guys to get the job done.
Well, let's talk keys to success. What are the Titans going to need to do Friday night to beat a very good Heritage Hills team?
Well, I think when we play these guys, one of the biggest things for us is getting off the field, right? Because if they can take away a quarter marching the ball down the field, and so if we get some quick stops, we can really play the game at our pace. And I think when you kind of look back historically, this probably isn't true all the way through, but kind of whoever's been able to control the tempo between the two of us has probably had more success than the other team. So the ability to get some stops early where they can't bleed away the clock is really important for us. Taking care of the football. We got to limit some penalties. We had way too many penalties on Friday night. So doing a better job of limiting penalties. And it just seemed like, Friday, and this is the way it worked, like every big play we had, we had a penalty. So that's really a drive killer. So we got to do a better job of being disciplined and not getting those big penalties against us.
Obviously, we want to see a lot of Titan fans over at Heritage Hills on Friday night. A little bit of a drive, but certainly worth it for the football game we all anticipate seeing. If you can't make it to the game, note that our broadcast starts with a pregame show at 6:45. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. And, Coach, we wish you the best of luck, and we'll talk to you here again next week.
All right, thank you.
That's Titan Coach Nick Hart. That is the Nick Hart Show for this week. We will see you next week and at Heritage Hills on Friday night. So long, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for the Nick Hart Show, presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Pole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Robert's Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, Robert Goob Vermillion, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Timbarge Seed, TYFL, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Vertical Tile Incorporated, Wash Boss, Young's Auto Body, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, by Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Salmon Photography, Like Transport, Make Your Mark, Scherer Monuments, Southern Indiana Tire, United Fidelity Bank, Stan and Teresa Dove, by Air Evac Life Team, Ameriprise Financial, Jeremy Overton, by Engermeyer Electric, Bandit Ag LLC, Bryant Auto Center Incorporated, by Center for Pediatric Therapy, by Country Barns, by Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey. By Fort Branch Car Wash. Full Metal Armory. By grandparent of Isaac O'Neill, Marianne O'Neill. By Heritage Federal Credit Union. Heritage Petroleum LLC. Jarbo Tax Service. Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm. By Cook Air. L&B Boutique. Little Miracles. Matt Walker Insurance. By Meisler Trailer Rentals. National Vet Help. Ripco Systems. By Titan Construction Partners. Whitledge Tree Service LLC. And by the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.